All right, guys, welcome to Zoom today. Thank y'all so much for joining me. We've got some stuff that I find interesting. You may or may not, but it's going to be great work experience for you guys. And before we jump into that, just a couple of quick announcements. I'm sure that y'all are all aware that the module is ending tomorrow. You're going to have your final exam tomorrow. No lab assignment. Yay! No lab assignment tomorrow. Your exam is your lab. Okay. And that's just to make things easier for the end of the module. We got a couple people who are behind because of unforeseen circumstances. So I'm just trying to lighten the load a little bit, right? So just the exam tomorrow. No school on Monday. It is a holiday. July 4th. Y'all have a happy Independence Day. Stay safe and healthy and just have a blast with your families. No class.
That's all I wanted to know. Thank you, Jesus.
I get it. I get it. So yeah, no class on Monday. On Tuesday, when we come back, okay. Disclaimer. I don't know if y'all hear her in the background, but my child is home and the babysitter's late picking her up. So I've got her.
I hear her back there.
I've got her in her room, supposing to be watching Peppa Pig quietly, but you hear that. So hopefully the babysitter will be here in a minute. But so Tuesday when we come back, we're going to be starting on module 157. And I need to stress to y'all, if y'all are struggling with SimChart, get with me, because 157, all SimChart all the time. For those of you that have hated this, I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry. But this is when you go to a job interview and they ask you, do you have any experience working on an EHR system? These exercises are the way you're going to be able to say, yes, I have. I've got months of experience working in SimChart EHR. I have seen people get jobs just because they knew how to schedule an appointment. The office could not find a qualified person who had ever worked on an EHR to schedule an appointment. And she'd be like, oh, you can schedule something? You're hired. So this stuff, while I know some of it seems repetitive, and I know it is some of you, it's not their favorite thing. I personally would much prefer this to coding, like all day long, like all day, every day. Okay.
I have a question.
What you got?
So whenever in 157, with it being SimChart, is it going to be like the same? Is it still going to walk us through before
Yeah.
we're on our own?
Yeah, it's gonna work a lot the same, except you remember when you signed into SimChart and you went into Simulation Playground and there was like a section where assignments should be listed. You're gonna have assignments there now.
Gotcha.
You may still do some stuff in the playground, but you're gonna have assignments listed there that y'all will go through in SimChart.
Okay.
But yeah, it's gonna keep on just walking y'all straight on through step by step and just building on the knowledge. Just building on the knowledge that you've already got. And y'all are doing great. Y'all are doing super great with it. So don't stress. Don't stress. Like I said, I would rather do this than coding all day. All day. So today, I think that's all the major announcements. The NTHS induction ceremony was postponed. That was supposed to be today, but with half of Unitech shut down with COVID, our corporate office is closed. The Lafayette campus, I think, is closed. So a few of the people that we had as guest speakers for this event have got COVID and can't make it. So we're going to postpone it. We have not figured out a date for that yet. That is still in the works. We're trying to see if this following week we're going to be shut down like we are this week. So we'll see. I'll let y'all know all that good stuff. And I think that's it for important announcements right now. Just end of the module, no class Monday. 157 starts on Tuesday. Also, after 157 is when you will be have covered all the material to take the front office assistant part of the NCCT. So if you want that front office assistant certification, let me know and we'll start getting you prepped for that. If that's
I
something.
want it.
I know. Just shoot me an email letting me know. And that way, because we have an entire, like, I do NTHS. We have Miss Marsha and Miss Crystal do all the NCCT prep stuff. So what I'm probably gonna do, I'll get y'all some information and get y'all in touch with them. And they have all the information on our practice exams. We have an Edmodo class that has practice exams and practice questions in it and stuff like that. And they will be able to give you the details on all that stuff. So email me so I can forward your email to them so we can get you going on that, okay? Let's see. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with chapter 5, 6, and 7. We're predominantly today going to talk about chapter 6, the claims, billing, appeals, revenue cycle, that kind of thing. And we're going to kind of talk in depth about some of that. I've got a little presentation, so I'm going to share my screen with you guys. But your 5, 6, and 7 exam, I think you got 5 multiple choice and 5 true false from each chapter. You've got 1 essay question that should not be too bad. The revenue cycle worksheet diagram, also on the exam. And then you've got some bonus essay questions, 1 for each chapter. So there's like 30 points worth of bonus on this one that y'all can do. Trying to help with those into the module grades a little bit. And y'all know what kind of is depressing to me? Those of you that make good grades and do the bonus stuff, well, those of you that do the bonus stuff are already the ones that make good grades. Like my people who are struggling, some of them don't even bother with the bonus stuff. And I'm like, at least give it a try. Because I can give you partial points if you at least just attempt it. But if you leave it blank, there's nothing I can do for that, right? So at least try it, especially if you're struggling, But anywho, okay, so that's what your exam tomorrow is going to look like. It is already open. I know a couple of y'all already been there, done that. But y'all will get something out of this presentation, I promise. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you guys. Get to the beginning of my presentation. All right, y'all seeing what I'm seeing?
I see it.
All right, she's in a room.
I see it.
Awesome. She loves y'all. My neighbor is her babysitter today. She's gonna go next door and hang out for a little while. Loves my neighbor. She's like, she just walked in her room. She went, Gina. No, you do not need pants. You are ready to go. You have a dress on. You're okay. Thanks, Gina. Okay. So revenue cycle and billing. And again, y'all, this is my favorite stuff. This is where I shine. And this is what I enjoy doing because I like problem solving and I like figuring things out. And I kind of like arguing and proving my point. So, that's I like arguing with the insurance companies. All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about is the revenue cycle. Okay. The success of each step is dependent on the preceding step having been done correctly. Okay. And as y'all can see, each one of these steps in some offices is a different person's job. One person may handle each of these things. I will tell y'all now that most of the jobs that I have been at where I did billing and appeals and stuff like that, I was involved in steps 6 through 8. That's your billing personnel right there, steps 6 through 8. Okay. Steps 1 and 2, your scheduling, appointment making, all that stuff, and your record documentation. That's done by your provider's office. That is the person that answers the phone to schedule that patient, or the person who accepts the referral from another office, whatever the case may be. So that's done by the provider's office. That step 2 is when your patient is seeing the provider. They're going to document that record, right? They're creating a new record, a new encounter, as SimChart likes to call it. So that's where that's going to play in. Step 3, your charge capture. This is where completing a super bill and coding and all of that fun stuff comes in. That's step 3. Okay. And usually, like in an outsourced billing office, steps 1 and 2 are done at the provider's office. And then the super bills, the documentation was transferred over to our coders in our office. They did steps 3 and 4. Okay. And then step 5, payment posting. In almost every office that I've worked in, that has been one specific person's job. They want that person doing nothing but posting payments. They think money all day long. All day long. That's all they deal with is money, EOBs, and putting in dollars, taking out dollars, whatever they got to do, tracking down payments, whatever they got to do to get the job done. But that is usually, they usually have that to one dedicated person or set of people. In, like I said, almost every single billing medical job I've ever had, that's been the case. And then your billing, third-party follow-up, rejections processing, and appeals. Your third-party follow-up, the billing personnel are really important because that is their job. Okay, after it goes to payment posting or even claim submission, it may skip over payment posting if the claim does not get paid, right? If it gets rejected out or denied, you're going to skip over payment posting and go straight to number 6, third-party follow-up. Your billing person, most EHRs are set up to where you document, the billing personnel are able to document notes for when they talk to patients, when they talk to insurance companies, or they have to contact a provider. CY your A, notate everything. And I mean everything. What time you talk to somebody, who you talk to, how long you talk to them, and what y'all discussed. I mean, details, okay? That's gonna cover you. All right. So a lot of the time, the EHR systems are set up to where when a billing person works on an account, they can make a note. Okay. And it kind of dates that note. And what you can do is you can pull a report, an Excel spreadsheet out of these EHRs, and it shows you in order of the accounts, which one was worked the last, like the longest days ago. Like, I don't want to work a claim that I just checked on 30 days ago, right? If I've got one that I haven't worked in 90 days, I need to check on that one first, right? I need to follow up with that first. Because at 90 days, you're starting to get close to timely filing for some insurances. So you need to go and check on that. And most of these EHR systems allow you to pull these reports to let you know how and when to follow up with these certain accounts. I always like to do mine by insurance. You can sort this information, these accounts, all kind of different ways. All right. I really like doing it by insurance because some of the insurances, when you get them on the phone, you can work, they'll allow you to work multiple accounts at the same time. Instead of spending 15 minutes trying to get somebody on the phone, and then once you finally do, work in one claim and then moving on to the next one, work as many claims as you can in that phone call. Okay. Save you that hold time, that it's just so frustrating. The menus, all that stuff, going on through all that takes time, precious time. You could be working claims during that time and being better at your job. Okay, so that's where third-party follow-up comes in. All right, a lot of the claims, rejection processing. This could be a rejection from your clearinghouse. You remember that's the entity that your claims go to electronically before they get dispersed to the insurance companies. They go to a clearinghouse. Okay. If your company is signed up with one. Not everybody does, but most, especially if you're outsourced billing, you're going to sign up with the clearinghouses to check your claims before you're sending them off to insurance. Okay. The rejection could come from the clearinghouse. It could come from the insurance company itself. Okay. A denial is a denial is a denial. It still has to be worked, fixed, and get it paid to the best of your ability, right? All right. So once your claim is that it's correct, it's gone in, the insurance company has gotten it, and let's say they denied it. Then you get to start the appeals process, which there are first, second, and third level appeals that you have the legal right to go through. And as a billing specialist, because that's what it should be, a billing specialist, it is your duty to go through all those processes for your provider and get them paid, if that's what it takes. If that's what it takes. I haven't seen many that went to a third party appeals, except my own, as it were. My own claim for my back surgery went as far as it could go, straight out of Blue Cross's hands and into an independent insurance review company. There are those out there that that's all they do is look at insurance claims that are being appealed, and they're the neutral party between the provider and the patient and the insurance company. And like I said, my very own claim is the only one I've ever seen do that, have to go that far. Usually if you first and second level appeals, it'll get worked out one way or the other. All right. So any questions about how those tie into each other? Like when I say it's dependent on the process before it, if it's not like step 2, if it's not documented correctly, you're not going to get the correct charges. It's not going to get coded correctly, then it's going to get denied. Okay. So that's what I mean when I say each step is dependent on the one before to be done correctly, to be able to process the claim all the way through from start to finish. Any questions about that? Okay.
So what's the charge capture is the amount that the doctor's office is charging before it goes to claiming?
Charge
Claim submission?
capture is basically the process of filling out the super bill
Oh, okay.
and figuring out what that patient's charges are
Okay.
per CPT or diagnosis or
So
whatever.
that's where those little bitty I say little, but those little bitty modifiers can
That's
make
right.
or break something.
That's right.
Okay.
You're exactly right, Patricia. Yeah. Any other questions about revenue cycle? Has what I said made sense to y'all?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So the third party follow-up is more of this checking through to see if the insurance companies has received it and getting back to you.
Correct.
Okay.
That's if you haven't gotten a response yet from the insurance company, you need to call them and figure out, or either go on their website. If your company is signed up to check their claims electronically with them, which that's the way to go. That's the way to go.
Okay.
If y'all end up working for a company who does not get those insurance company logons and they make you want to go by paper or call them, sell them on how much more efficient it is for you to be able to just press a couple of buttons and see your claim pop up and the status of it, instead of calling and sitting on the phone for 15 minutes before you get in touch with a person and then have to go through each claim, reading out claim. I mean, it's so much faster, so much more efficient. Do it. Take advantage of it if you're able. Totally. Okay. But yeah, that's what third party follow-up is. If you have not heard from the insurance, and that happens because the correspondence get lost, especially if, and this, we'll talk a little bit more about this at the end of this presentation, your billing entity, your billing provider information can be different.
Hi, I'm sorry I'm late.
Hey girl, it's okay. At least you made it. Just go ahead and mute your background. Thank you. Your billing person or entity may be different than the doctor who actually did the procedure or whatever. That doctor is going to be listed on there, but the clinic may be the one billing for it. It may not be necessarily that doctor. It may be the clinic. And maybe that clinic is in a group of clinics. Like, let's talk about Cabrini, Christus Cabrini Hospital System. Huge system, right? They've got hospitals, clinics, doctors, you know, urgent
Mhm.
cares, all these different entities are all under one tax ID. One tax ID. And the reason I know that all of them in the state are under one tax ID is because I did their billing. And I could, to this day, I could spit you out that 7-digit number because I wrote it down and typed it so many times. But so your billing information may be different than your what do they call that? No, for your providing physician, the physician that actually did the procedure or whatever the case may be, or saw the
Okay.
patient. And if that information's incorrect, sometimes they will only send correspondence to the address that's on the claim. Well, that may not be the address of the clinic you're working out of. That may go to their corporate office. So you may never see it. I had that problem a
Okay.
lot. My correspondence would go to Cabrini Hospital. Well, I'm an outsourced billing person. I don't ever go to Cabrini Hospital. I don't get anything from Cabrini Hospital. They don't do nothing for me. If they get my correspondence, they shred it. They throw it away. So I would have to literally figure out which claims, which accounts I hadn't had any resolution on, and go in and start researching those dates of service for those patients and see if I could find where the claim had processed or denied or whatever, and then go from there. That's third party follow-up in a nutshell. Make sense?
Mhm.
Very good. Okay. So what y'all are looking at right now, we're going to look at a couple of patient statements. They are actually my own patient statements. And this one right here, I actually had to call Blue Cross on this morning, like I was telling y'all, and got a hold of a representative that I knew more about the billing process than she did.
Hmm.
So, a
It
couple
be
of,
like this sometimes.
it does, it really does. So a couple of tips when you're calling and dealing with insurance companies, y'all, have the information ready. If you, that is, anytime you call and you're checking on a claim, they're gonna want certain information before you ever get to a person. They're gonna want the tax ID and the NPI. Everybody know what an NPI is? Anybody know what an NPI is?
I don't.
Yes, it's the physician's it's a physician's information number. It's
Right. It's basically just an identifier, like your
Yeah.
driver's license number. Every doctor licensed in the state, or technically in the country, because it's a national provider identifier, NPI, National Provider Identifier. Okay. There is a website that you look up NPI. You can go and find any doctor's NPI number. It's public knowledge. It's not, and it's public knowledge, so we can do things like this, so we can do claims and things like this, and people can check on their records and stuff like that. But anytime you call an insurance company for a provider, you better have their tax ID and you better have their NPI. Nobody told me that the first time I called an insurance company. I remember it. I called and I got a recording. They were like, please enter the provider NPI. And I looked up over my cubicle and I said, what the hell is an NPI? I don't know what that is. What is it? And before long, I had on my cubicle wall a list of NPIs because I would call for different clinics, different doctors, different things. Okay. But each and every single one of them that practices medicine has one. They have one. Okay. If they are part of a group, they may have a second NPI for said group. They'll have an individual and then the group will have their own NPI. Okay. You learn about that kind of stuff, the details of all that, if you ever get into provider credentialing, which I have done. And that's not fun. All credentialing is signing up your providers, making sure that they have an NPI, and signing them up with all the different insurance companies. Making sure they're covered under as many insurances, they can accept as many as they want to. That's your job when you're doing credentialing, is to make sure that their credentials, their provider information with the state, with the medical boards, with the insurance companies is all correct, accurate, and filed, and all that fun stuff. It's its own thing. It's its own thing. It is something that's pretty complicated, and I'm not going to talk too much about it, but you do need to know what an NPI is and your tax ID. Okay, so just remember that when you go to work and they put you in a cubicle and they say, all right, follow up on these claims. First thing you want to ask for, okay, I'm gonna need the tax ID and the NPI. And they're gonna be like, ooh, you know your stuff. There you go. All right, so let's talk about this this office visit, this bill I got right here. Okay. One of the important things that you guys are going to do probably on occasion is have to explain a bill to a patient. I hope that y'all never have the experience that I had this morning and had to explain the bill to the insurance agent. So basically what this is, last year when I hurt my back, my primary care doctor didn't want to treat me for it. She was, because I don't see her any longer because of this. She's the type of doctor that didn't like to prescribe pain medicine. And if you came in and you were hurting, she would hand you some 800 milligram ibuprofen and send you on your way. So after my back pain got so bad that I ate so much ibuprofen that I almost overdosed on it, and it ate a hole in my stomach. One day
Wow.
yeah, y'all, ibuprofen is some bad stuff. It's some bad stuff. Do not.
It will cause ulcers in your stomach.
And it did.
If you
did.
overuse it a lot, it will cause
Lost 20
ulcers.
pounds in 4 days. 20 pounds in 4 days because I was throwing up everything. And I could literally feel the spot in my stomach. Because after 24 hours, I had nothing left in my stomach. So I would drink water and I could literally feel the water level rising in my stomach, and it would get to a certain point and it would explode. All the water would come right back up because it would hit that.
That would have been a lawsuit.
Oh, well, I told her all about herself. After I had a subsequent visit after I saw this doctor this patient statement we're talking about here, I went back to her and with my MRI results, and I was like, the ibuprofen you wanted to give me and not follow up on my back pain, I have a huge herniation and I'll be having spinal surgery. So thank you for your lack of help. You really represented your oath there, lady. Appreciate you.
I could tell you
I
a
would've
reason
said
why maybe she probably didn't want to prescribe pain meds.
No, she didn't.
Because
She's-
she was already probably in trouble from prescribing it so often.
Possibly.
Till the state was
Yep.
But
after her.
she apparently had
Mhm.
some kind of thing about controlled substances. Because I will tell y'all, I take anxiety medicine and I take a Xanax. I take the lowest dose Xanax they make, and I've taken it for 10 years. And I've never had to up my dosage. It's clear in my medical record why I take it, how much I take, and how long I've taken it. And when I went to her and she asked me, what meds are you on? And I told her, I said, I have a diabetes medicine and an anxiety medicine. I take Xanax. And she's like, oh, well, I'm not going to write a script for that. And I was like, I'm not here to get drugs. I've taken the same dose for 10 years. This is what I need on a daily basis to get through, to be okay. And she's like, I'm not writing that. So of course she didn't want to write me any pain medicine either. But anywho, you'll find
because-
doctors like that.
It's because she was the state has been on her. Because I had a few doctors I worked for, and that's what happened. Whenever the state started getting on them and
Yeah.
start auditing their records and getting on them,
They cut it
they're
off.
too scared to start prescribing. And then he stopped prescribing pain meds along with anxiety meds. If you take anxiety meds and you need pain meds, they won't prescribe both. Because
Right.
there's two narcotics and they will not prescribe both of them.
Yep. You're absolutely correct. Now, I will say that when I was having all this back surgery, after they got, the MRI showing the damage, the personal care doctor that I switched to after that woman had no problem writing my Xanax, had no problem writing me pain meds until I was released by my spine surgeon. But I don't know. Doctors, they have the autonomy to
No,
kind
a
of
lot of them
to
do that.
do how they want. And if they're uncomfortable doing something, they won't,
Yeah.
and she was a very young doctor. And the one that I'm going to now is a very old doctor. He's been, and I find that their comfort level with regulations as to how long they've been doing medicine varies so much in how you'll get treated as a patient. It really does.
Yeah, because
But-
it's like she's scared and she want to do it
That's
by
right.
the book.
That's
So
right.
she's not, but when you have older physicians, they be like, I've been doing this for a while, so I know how to get around some of that.
Yeah.
And the new doctors don't know how
And
to
they've
get
done it
around
for so
that.
long. They know how to gauge when somebody is coming in there with a legitimate problem and when somebody is coming in there with some BS. They've got
They're
enough
seeking,
experience to recognize,
narcotics.
right,
Yeah.
drug seeking behaviors. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. They can recognize that, and I'm not a drug seeker. I don't want to be on pills any more than I have to. I hate the fact that I have to take an anxiety medicine daily, but that's what I got to do to not alienate my entire family and anybody who comes into contact with me. Okay. You don't want to be around me when I haven't had it because I'm a nervous wreck. I worry about everything. And I don't like that. I used to be real chill and I like being chill. Stress and worry don't get you nothing but heart trouble. So, but anywho, okay, so let's get back to this a little bit. All right, so you guys can see on here, this was for 2 dates of service, right? And 8/16 was the first day I saw her. 9/92/03 was my CPT, new patient office visit, 30 to 44 minutes. She billed $210 to the insurance company for that day. Okay, the next one was on 8/25. I saw her again. 9/92/12 shows that I'm an established patient now. And the bill for that one was $100. Now looking at just what is typed on here, what they sent me, and I got this bill last month from last year's data service, right? I thought these were all handled and done. I paid co-pays on these dates of service. I thought I saw EOBs where the insurance had paid on these dates of service, but according to this statement they just sent me, I'm being billed for the full amount. My co-pays that I paid are not being reflected. My payments that the insurance made on these dates of service are not being reflected. They're trying to bill me for the whole dang thing. Why? So I said, okay, before I call and get ugly with the billing person over here, let me call the insurance and see if the insurance did not pay on this stuff and why. Okay. So I called this morning and I talked to a lovely lady named Miss Gina. And Miss Gina explained to me that Urgent EMS and Dr. Nashberg were not in my network. They're out of network for me. So Dr. Nashberg has the right to balance bill me. Okay. And what balance billing is, all right. So when a provider is in network with an insurance company, they have a contract. They call it in contract. They have a contract of what they can charge for certain CPTs, what they can charge for a new diet, for a new patient visit, what they can charge for an established patient visit. Okay. The provider in that build column can bill whatever they want. But if they're under contract, the insurance will only deal with what they agreed upon was the billed amount. The provider could, okay, like look at the 8/25 data service. She billed $100, right? I have here $44.29 was what was allowed under Blue Cross. Okay. So if she was in network, the bill would have been $44.29 minus whatever Blue Cross paid, which would have left me with $22.15 or something like that, what I owed. But because they are out of network and they want to balance bill me, I am responsible for everything that wasn't allowed. They can balance bill me for that unallowed portion, which would have been like 66 something dollars, right? But here I've got this bill for $100. So Blue Cross tells me that they paid $22.14 on this claim towards this $100. And I was trying to get, the thing I was trying to get across to the insurance lady was like, okay, so y'all paid on this claim. So my balance should not be $100. If they're balance billing me, my balance should be $100 minus what Blue Cross paid, right? $22.14. I should only owe $75 towards that. But they're billing me $100. So where's that Blue Cross payment? So now that I've called Blue Cross and I've verified that they did pay on that bill, and I'm fairly certain that I paid a $44 copay that day. So I should only owe about $15 for that data service, but they're charging me $100. So now I'm waiting for a lovely fellow named Matthew from the billing department of Urgent EMS to give me a call. And we're going to have a discussion, billing specialist to billing specialist, about my claims. Because according to Blue Cross, they've paid on all of my claims with Urgent EMS. But the bills I'm getting are not reflecting said payments. They're also not reflecting the copays that I've already paid. So now that I've verified with Blue Cross that they have paid on all this stuff, I've got to go back to the billing company, to the provider's office, and argue with them and get them to track down those payments. Their billing specialist, somewhere along the line, lost track of some payments, didn't follow up on some claims. And now a year later, here we are. You see how that rolls around, y'all? There was no third-party follow-up, or at least not in a timely dang manner to get these claims resolved. So here I am a year later having to fight on an insurance policy that I don't even have anymore. I've changed companies since then, so I have a new insurance policy with Blue Cross. Thankfully, I am still with Blue Cross. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to call today and get any information at all. But thankfully, I'm still with Blue Cross, and I was able to go back and give them my social, and they were able to go back and look through and figure this out. So this is my current battle, medical battle, insurance that I'm going through. But it's a good way for y'all to see the patient statement and how it breaks down, right? This is what the physician charged. If they had been in network, there would have been some adjustments here. If the insurance company, or if they were registering my payments on here, those would be listed in this third column, right? And then the current balance is listed in this last column. But like I said, we got a bunch of stuff missing here. So we'll have to get that straightened out. But so you always want to have your information ready. When you talk to a representative at an insurance company, always get their name. Always find out who you're talking to. And sometimes they may talk too fast and in a foreign language that you don't understand. So that is why you always get a reference number. You can forget their name. Don't forget that reference number. And I don't care which insurance company you call. If they say, we don't give reference numbers, because there are a few small ones that do that, you dang sure get that name, date, and write down the time that you spoke to that person. Like CY, y'all, I'm serious. Reference number. Repeat after me, reference number. Super important. All right, so let's move on. Okay, so at the same time as I got this bill for these dates of service, I got another bill from that same company. That was the company that I had my COVID vaccine with. That was the doctor, Urgent EMS was where I went. Okay, and so when I get a bill, $40 I owe for a COVID vaccine, the first thing that pops into my mind is, hold on a second. Everything I heard on TV, everything I read said that COVID vaccine was covered 100%. Why do I owe $40 on this? So while I was on the phone with Gina this morning from Blue Cross, I asked her about this data service as well and why I was being billed $40. And she informed me that that was incorrect, that I should not have any out-of-pocket expense. My patient responsibility for that data service was zero because it was a COVID vaccine and it's covered 100%. But the provider's office, the billing specialist missed that. I don't know if they missed that it was a vaccine. Apparently they missed the EOBs with their payments on it. So maybe they missed this one too. And all of a sudden I've got a bill for $40. But I was prepared to argue with Gina or whoever I talked to about it. So I really quickly, I Googled Blue Cross Blue Shield COVID vaccine, and this was what it popped up. This is an actual screenshot from my phone this morning. I took this screenshot and was prepared to argue with whoever I came through, because this right here from Blue Cross's own website states you will not pay anything out of pocket for the vaccine or booster. And it even tells you why. This no-cost coverage is included in the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, or the CARES Act. So I'm gonna tell y'all right now, y'all get a bill for a COVID vaccine or a booster, call them up and be like, CARES Act said no, ma'am. No. But Gina knew about the COVID vaccine. So she was like, no, you go back to them and tell them that your patient responsibility was zero and that they got to write that off. And they do, they got to write it off, you know? But knowing your information before you go in is important, okay? And that's why step one, verify your information so you can be confident going into the conversation. All right, you get a different feeling when you call somebody knowing this. I have this information in front of me, so I know that this is fact, right? Or it's a different conversation when you go in and you're asking them, no, isn't it supposed to be this way? That gives them the opportunity to say, because you've given them the idea that you're not 100% certain on that. You don't know this to be fact. So they can tell you no, and you don't know any better to argue with them. But if you go in there and you say, per the CARES Act, you can't charge me for this, or you can't charge my patient for this, or whatever, they're gonna be like, oh, okay, yes, ma'am. And they're gonna do what they gotta do. So confidence is a big thing. And y'all, it takes a little bit to get confident working with insurance companies and calling them. It really does, because at first you're like, and especially me, I didn't have any medical experience. I knew nothing the first time I called an insurance company. As I said, I hung up and I was like, what the hell is an NPI? I don't know what they're asking me for. How can I do this? And then I start talking to them about procedures and CPT codes and ICD-10 codes and all this stuff that I don't know nothing about. Nothing. So the confidence sometimes takes a little while. It takes you getting in your groove. But the good thing is, when you're in that job atmosphere and you're working certain kinds of claims, you pick up really quickly how to handle those insurance companies, and you're going to come across the same types of denials a lot. It seems to happen in bulk. When there is like one code that has changed, you'll file a bunch of claims with that code all in like 1 week. Okay. And then all of them will come back to you at the same time. Right. So then you call one and you're like, oh, this code changed, I need to fix it. So you fix all of them and you go on, right? Same thing when you have to call about something like that, or anything, any denial. If you have a lot of the claims that are denying for the same reason, and after the first few times you call, you get the hang of how to talk about that claim. You know, I had such and such a patient. She came in on this day. This was the charges. Y'all didn't pay or adjust anything off. Why is this? And they'll tell you why. And you either got to go, okay, yeah, that sounds accurate, or you got to fight them. No, that's not right. No. And if they keep on arguing with you, do not be afraid to ask them for a supervisor. Like this morning, I asked Gina, I said, Gina, is there anybody who's been in billing a little bit longer, sweetie? I said, I don't think we're communicating effectively. Can I try somebody else?
Okay, yeah, well.
You know, don't be afraid to do that. And don't let them bully and steamroll you. Because Gina did. She tried to. She didn't know what balance billing was. Or she might have known what it was, but didn't have a clear understanding to explain it to me on the phone. Okay. I was trying to get through to her that this provider's office is trying to charge me $100 on something that's already had a $22 payment made on it. Why are they charging me $100? And she's like, they're allowed to balance bill. I was like, but they're balance billing me the full amount. They're not allowed to. I said, where is the $22.14 that y'all paid going? They just get that extra. And she was like, no, but they're allowed to bill you the full amount. I said, yeah, but it should be the full amount minus what you paid. I'm paying the balance, not the balance plus some.
And also you paid copay towards it, so
I
where
did.
did that money go?
That should be
Yeah, so
reflected on
then I'm like,
there also.
Mhm.
And that's a conversation that Matthew and I are gonna have later this afternoon when he calls me back.
Mm-hmm. And you like me, can I speak to the supervisor?
You dang Skippy. And you got to sometimes. And when I say them bully or steamroll you, when she couldn't explain to me what I wanted to know, she couldn't answer my question. She all of a sudden started to try to explain to me what a deductible was and what out of network meant and what co-insurance was and how it all applied. And I was like, sweetheart, let me stop you right there. I understand exactly what all of those things are. And I understand
Yes.
what balance billing is. I said, but what you're not understanding is that mathematically, what you're telling me doesn't make any sense. It was $100 bill. You paid $22.14. How is it still $100? That's what I'm asking you. And she couldn't answer that question.
Hmm.
And the
Yeah.
simple answer for her to give me was the payment that we made is not being reflected on your provider statement. That simple. The payment that we made must not be reflected on that provider statement. That was all she had to tell me. And I've been like, oh, you know what? That's not on here. Let me get back with the provider. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Simple. So yeah, but she did. She tried to steamroll me with explaining benefits and this and that. And I'm like, no, babe, no. And what you got to understand that when I say it takes a while for you to get confidence, you will know when they answer the phone how long they've been doing insurance and how much they understand. You will learn to figure that out real quick. And there are some times where you get somebody that is just so argumentative or just doesn't know what they're talking about and won't accept the fact that they don't know what they're talking about. Somebody that you just can't communicate with. You just got to hang up and try again. Get somebody else. Hang up, call right back and get a different rep. Sometimes it's like that. I used to really love, and this may be petty. This may be really petty, but I worked in a room. There were 16 cubicles in a room, and most of us were calling insurance companies throughout the day. You know, when you're in a room with 16 other people, you try when you're on the phone, making a phone call, you keep your voice, you don't want to be louder than everybody else in the room. But what's fun is when somebody's on the phone with insurance and you're across the room and you're working and their voice just starts getting louder and louder and louder. And so you stop working and you sit there and listen. And you're just waiting for them to go off on that insurance agent. You just wait and you go, wait for it. And it happens. It happens. Sometimes you will lose your cool. And that's when you got to say, all right, I need to talk to somebody else or hang up and try again. Because losing your cool is fairly unprofessional. And I have told them, I hope you are recording this GD call. Because this is stupid. Please use it in a training seminar.
And you know, when you have some of them that's kind of new and don't know too much about the insurance, they just learning. When they start telling you, okay, hold on a minute,
Well,
or
here's the
just
deal.
give me a minute, and then they put you on hold for a minute. Then
When
they
they're
come back
new-
and they're talking about something, and put you on hold again, and be like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, you're trying to find out about it.
That's
Then
right. You're exactly right. They do that. And they also, when they're new, they have a script.
Yes.
And you will get to the point where you're asking them a question and they're just repeating what's on the script.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets to the point, it's like, okay, ma'am, I need you to step off the script for a minute. And if you can't, I need you to get me somebody who can. Point
Yep.
blank and simple.
It's true. They
I need
reading
somebody
off
who
the
can
receipt.
step off the script and have a conversation about this claim with me. That's all there is to it. So yeah, don't let them bully and steamroll you and try to talk over you with information. Because I had to tell Gina this morning, Gina, I need you to stop and let me speak and listen to what I'm saying. And I said it just like that. Hey Gina, could you stop for just a second? Let me speak. Let me finish my sentence so you can understand what I'm needing from you. It doesn't have to be ugly. It doesn't have to. You can do it nicely. Kill them with kindness. Honey, vinegar, all that, bees, honey, vinegar, y'all know how to do. Yeah, but don't ever be afraid to ask to talk to somebody else. That's going to happen a lot. Promise. All right. So this is a patient statement. And again, this is mine. This is the doctor's, just the doctor's statement for my back surgery. My back surgery was on October 26th of last year. I have this. All right.
Miss Brandy, I have to leave the class because my phone is
Okay.
jumping in.
That's fine, sweetheart. Do what you got to do. I got your attendance in.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sweetie. Have a good day and a nice weekend. A happy holiday.
Yeah, you all too.
Okay. So you guys can see the date of servant, state of service, patient, provider. And I have two on there. I have my surgeon, who is Dr. Pierce Nunley, and then his assistant surgeon, nurse practitioner Howard, who is really awesome. They were both great. But you can see the charges here. And this is what a statement looks like after insurance is paid, insurance has adjusted off. Like this is after we won our appeal and Blue Cross got everything situated, this is the statement I get. This is my finalized statement of what I owe them. Okay. You can see the original charges, $5,255, $1,690, all that adds up to $14,061. That was the total billed charges from the doctor. Now, the facility bill is different. That's separate. That's something else. But $14,061 were the charges for this statement. Okay. Receipt from insurance. This is what the insurance paid on it. They paid $219.70 on one procedure and $369.19 on another procedure. Okay. The only thing that I've paid toward this, you see receipt from patient so far, is $40 because this all got finalized last month. And I made my first payment after it was all finalized because I'm not paying unless, like with my primary care, I have to pay to see him because it goes towards my deductible and all that. But like this, I wasn't paying a penny toward this till Blue Cross had did what they had to do. And I could have, and it would have went towards my other balance. But I wanted to make sure that everything came out in the wash, so to speak. That everything was going to be okay with Blue Cross and know what I was dealing with, basically. Because like I said, all of my surgeons were out of network. And that's why my patient balance after all the adjustments and the payments, the insurance adjustments, you can see are quite a bit. The insurance adjustments were $10,911. That's a lot. That's a lot. And that, y'all, is why you have insurance, is for those contractual adjustments. Okay. And like I was saying earlier about the contractual adjustments and what they're allowed to bill. He billed on the top line, he billed $5,255 for that procedure, right? Well, Blue Cross said, you're not allowed to bill all that. So they adjusted off for that contractual adjustment. Okay. And then I paid my $40 that I've paid so far. And my balance on that procedure, that line item is $1,612.05. Yeah. Yeah. So my patient balance for all of that is about a little over $2,500 is what I owe surgeons. It's not what I owe the facility. And I'm still waiting on that finalized bill. Yucky. But do you guys have any questions about reading a statement, about how you would explain this to a patient? If a patient got this in the mail and they didn't, like, I understand what it is because this is what I do for a living. But the average person who looks at this is Greek. This is Chinese. This is not something that they, well, there's no deductions. Where are the payments at? There's nothing with a minus sign. Where's this? Where's that? So you've got to be able to answer a phone and explain to them what each of these numbers are and what they represent and how it applies to their balance. And now, so that's the part that you get to explain. But here's the other cool thing. If they call you and they say, well, that's not right. My insurance should have covered such and such. And that's when you get to go, oh, that's between you and your insurance. That's not up to me. All I can do is go by what the insurance company tells me. All I can do is make sure I billed it correctly to get it paid. If you're thinking that there's something wrong with what your insurance paid, you've got to get with them. But if they paid me and sent me an EOB, that's what I have to work off of. That's what y'all have to work off of, is the information that the insurance gives you. And if the patient thinks it should be different, they have to take that up with the insurance company. That's between them. There's nothing you can do about that. Like you can call, but what the insurance company is going to tell you, we paid based off of that patient's plan. We paid based or adjusted off of based on their benefits. That's how we process this claim, based on their benefits. And that's what you got to tell the patient, is that if you think this is incorrect to the amount they adjusted off or the amount that they paid or whatever, then you got to call them and handle that. Now, looking at my statement here, you see how they paid on some things and they adjusted really big on some things, and some things they didn't adjust very much off of. Some of it they didn't pay at all on. So I've called them and had a conversation to get a better understanding of why that was. And it's basically because we were out of network. So there were certain things that got adjusted more than others. There's certain things that if you're not in network, they don't allow at all. I mean, I had to meet my out-of-network deductible and then an out-of-pocket max. And some of it went towards out-of-network deductible and some of it went towards co-insurance. And this is correct. This is what it is. I've made them explain every dollar to me to the way I satisfactorily understand it. And that's the other thing. Make them make you understand. If you don't understand what they're saying, say, I'm sorry, I need you to clarify that for me. I need to go a little bit deeper on this because I'm not really understanding what you're saying, or I'm not understanding what this means. Ask them to go deeper if you need to. Ask them to explain it. And they have to. That's their job. That's their job. And if they don't want to do their job, number one, file a complaint. Number two, move on to the next rep. That's what it boils down to. But this is what it looks like when everything is said and done. Next month, the only difference on this statement should be receipt from patient. That amount should go up and my final balance will go down. Okay. And I know some of y'all might be thinking, why in the hell did you have a surgery with that kind of surgery with doctors that were out of network? This is my spine. That's why. I'll pay them $50 a month for the next 3 years to make sure that I walk. I'm fine with it. I'm okay with picking up this bill to make sure that I had one of the best surgeons working on my spine. Because one slip up and I could have been paralyzed for the rest of my life. One slip up, I could have died on that table. I wanted the best. You're cutting into my spine. You're inserting titanium into my spine. I want the best. So the best was out of network. So now I'll pay this bill, but I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that because I can walk and run and play with my daughter. I'm good. I have no complaints about my surgery or my doctor or the facility, anything. I highly recommend them to everybody and anybody that I talk to because they were phenomenal, worth every damn penny, every penny. Every ounce of appeal, every argument on the phone with an insurance company, worth it because I am walking, talking, running, and playing with my kids. You know what I'm saying? That's why it was worth it for me.
So how would you explain this statement to somebody? Just say that I'm a patient and this is my statement and I'm calling you and I'm asking you to explain this statement to me because I noticed like Dr. Howard,
Mhm.
he has like the same charge amount as Dr. Nunley.
Correct.
And he says like for different, like the low back disc surgery decompress, he charged 5,255 and that's the same amount Dr. Nunley charged for the dissectomy lumbar. So how would you explain to me why these two amounts seem the exact same thing?
The way that I would explain that, because Dr. Howard was the assistant surgeon,
Mm-hmm.
this PE 630 is probably the CPT that let them know that he assisted with this procedure. Okay. So
So he could charge that same
they
amount.
charge the same thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And because you see how the other procedure on the spine vertebral column, that 2289.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, look at this. Notice the CPT on that top one, the 5255 one, 63030.
Oh,
Look on
okay,
this one,
yeah.
PE 630. So that
Yeah.
ties in somewhere.
Like
That
the,
ties
yeah,
in
he
somewhere.
assisted him. And so that's
Right.
why he was able to charge that amount, the same amount
Exactly.
as the primary doctor. So he, okay,
Right.
now I see
Now,
'cause like,
and you see the other one, 22899, and then his code is PE 228.
228, yeah.
So that ties in. That ties in. And the reason they have those CPTs is because if Dr. Nunley would have charged 63030 and then Dr. Howard would have charged 63030, it'd have been a duplicate.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
Two
that's why he
doctors
put
can't
the-
do the same thing at the same time.
Yeah, so
One's
that's
got to
why
be
he got the
primary and the other one's got to assist.
Okay.
Right. Unless you remember, unless it's like a team effort, it's one of those big things that's a team effort and you get to throw that modifier on there. But
Okay.
in this case, it just is coded different. But yeah, they're allowed to charge the same thing because it was an assist.
Oh, okay.
That's how I would explain that. Any other questions? That was great. That was a fantastic question, Julia. Anybody else want to know how I would explain anything on here to a patient? No,
ma'am.
You're good. All right.
I
So
just have one more thing, the
Yeah.
adjustment. You would just tell them the adjustment means that's what the insurance company has paid towards the 5,200, or did the adjustment is what the insurance company is adjusting their payments?
That's right. The adjustment is what the insurance company disallowed.
Okay.
That is what they took off for their because they're in contract with them.
Okay.
Okay. Now, if they were they're under contract with Blue Cross, but they do not participate in my plan. That's two different things. Because they do not participate in my plan, my adjustments were not as much as what they would have been had I gone to an in-network provider. And I think if y'all look, they took off 3602 for Dr. Nunley for that 5255 charge. And you see for Dr. Howard, 5255, they took off 5,114. And I think that's because Dr. Howard was in network with my plan. That's why his adjustment was bigger than Dr. Nunley's. And yes, different doctors at the same clinic and same group can be in network or participating with completely different plans. Each provider can choose to participate or not participate with whatever insurance they want to. They do not all have to do the same thing, even if they are in the same clinic or the same facility. That's up to them, how they want to run their business. So yeah, those adjustments, that's what they call contractual obligation. Okay, that's what the insurance company gets to take off because that doctor's credentialed with them, is in contract with them. They have a contract that says they can't charge that much. So they have to they adjust off what they can't charge. And that's what that
Okay.
column is.
And then whatever the balance is, then that's what the insurance gonna start paying towards whatever their balance was
Right,
after
That's
they
right.
took the adjustment off.
right. You've got your balance. You send it to insurance. They do their contractual adjustment, their contractual obligation, and they adjust off. And that gives you a new balance, right?
Mm-hmm.
So from there, if the insurance company needs to pay, they make payment.
Okay.
If they don't pay, then that could possibly go to the patient. It may be
Okay.
the patient's responsibility if there's a balance there.
Okay.
See, like, if you look at the second line, the 22899 for 1690 for Dr. Nunley, the
Mhm.
charge was 1690. The contractual adjustment was 1250.60, right? They
Mhm.
adjusted that off. Because he's out of network, they only pay 50%.
Okay.
So if you take the 1250 from the 1699, you get like close to 440. If you cut that by 50%, if you split it in half, it comes to 219.70. And you see they paid 219.70 and I owe 219.70.
Okay. Yeah, they give you the difference of what their 50% they paid.
Yeah, that balance goes, if there's a balance left over after the contractual adjustment and they make whatever payment they make,
Mm-hmm.
then that goes to the patient.
Okay.
Miss Brandy.
Yes, ma'am.
This may be a question. I don't know. But do you think the doctors know that they are within the contract of Blue Cross or whatever insurance you have? Because if they would know that, would they still charge you the max amount?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So they know that they're under contract and they still try to charge you the max amount?
Well, no, they don't.
Okay.
They don't charge what they charge is what they charge. Like
Right.
Blue Cross understands that the bill that they get sent first is going to be that full amount.
Okay.
Blue Cross, they're understanding that that's going to be the full amount. And they're going to look at that bill and go over the CPTs and go over that provider's contract and say, though, no, that's not what we worked out. This is what you're allowed to charge.
Right.
For this
That's
service.
what I was like, do they know that they're not allowed to?
Yeah, they know.
Oh, okay.
And it's just, instead of the doctor trying to figure out what that percentage is and what it
Yeah,
relates
they
to,
just send it on through and
they let the
do it. Okay,
insurance adjust what they need to. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Great question. Great question. Anybody else? No? Okay. All right, so let's go on. I think this is the last slide, y'all, so we're getting close to the end. I know this one has been kind of long. All right, but I do want to go through, all of you did the exercise where you filled out the HCFA, and I know that some of y'all had some issues with number 8, which was the patient account number up here at the top, because I don't think that was something that was clearly listed in the instructions for that EHR exercise. I think that was something you had to go and dig for, but not everybody knew that they were going to have to go and dig for it. Oh, you pumpkin, you.
Yeah, because I think I just skipped over there. Because like account number. I don't know.
Yeah, that was something that you would have had to go in the EHR and dig for. And
Cause I started going back into the chapters. I went back into chapter 5 and see if it was in some of the exercises we had to do. And I went back in 6 and looking at, and I was like, wait. I
No,
still
you
don't
should have been
see
able to
why
just
the
pop up
same
the patient's demographics and it should have been right there somewhere.
thing.
Whenever you create an account in an EHR, it'll automatically generate a patient account number. Usually, sometimes you can set it
Oh, yeah,
manually,
it does.
but most of the
Mhm.
systems will automatically generate a patient account number. And that's where that number goes, is in box 26. Let me get to the next page again. Okay. So I know that's not like crystal clear or anything, but all right. So this is that bottom part of the HCFA is very, very important because there's certain pieces of information that if you get wrong, the claim is going to get rejected. Like it won't even make, if you go through a clearinghouse, it's not even gonna make it to insurance. They're gonna automatically throw it out or send it back. And that is the federal tax ID number. And usually if we're talking clinics and businesses and hospitals and things, they'll have literally a federal tax ID that they use. If you were working for an individual doctor and it's just him by himself doing little stuff, he may be still using his social security number. Some of them do that. Instead of filing for a tax ID, a business tax ID, they just use their social security numbers, but that is not a common practice. And you see how they have a little checkbox, social security number or EIN, right? You got to indicate which one they're using. Number 26 is that patient's account accepts assignment for government claims. All right. This is basically for Medicare. There's so few providers that don't accept Medicare. So most of the time this box is going to be automatically checked yes. Your total charges and total amount paid, yeah, those are important, but it's not necessarily going to kick back your claim. But one of the things I do want to explain to y'all is this down here. Number 31, the signature. If you mail a claim off or fax a claim in, a HCFA, you gotta have it signed, but it's not going to be signed by the doctor. It's going to be initialed generally by you. Okay. Whoever fills out that claim form is going to initial their right there. Okay. And that way, if it gets sent back, they can reference who prepared the claim and sent it off. And they want somebody to recognize, to take responsibility for that claim, to sign saying, yeah, I filled this out. And I'm attesting that all this information is true and correct to the best of my knowledge. Okay. So that's very important. Don't forget your initials. All right. And this is what I kind of touched on earlier, service facility location and billing provider information. All right. If these boxes are blank, claim's not going nowhere. Okay. Most EHR systems are set up. They have the billing provider information saved. And also the facilities are saved. And each one's given like a code. Like you may have 01, 02, 03, something like that for different clinics that they work off of or that they service at or, whatever. But the facility where the procedure's done, where the services take place, that's how they put it. Where do the services take place? That's the address that's going to go in that box. Okay. The facility address is what they're looking for there. Not the provider's billing information, not the provider's home address, not the patient's anything. All they want to know is where did this claim happen? That's box 32 in a nutshell. Okay. And you also have to have that facility or group or whoever runs that facility will have an NPI. The facility's NPI has to be there. Okay. Generally, if it's not, the claim will get kicked back. I have seen a couple of go through blank, but that's not often. All right. But this billing provider information and NPI, that all has to be there and it all has to be correct. Okay. And like I said, your billing provider You may work for Dr. Jones, but Dr. Jones may work for Christus Cabrini, right? He may be in that group and seeing patients under that. So your service facility location is going to be whatever clinic Dr. Jones did those services, but your billing information is probably going to be Cabrini's information. It's not going to be your doctor's. It'll be Cabrini's main information that has to go in this box and their NPI. Okay. And if you're lucky, your billing provider information and your rendering, that's the word I was trying to think of earlier, your rendering provider. That's the provider who did those services is rendering. If you're lucky, they're the same person or same entity. If you're not, you're gonna have different information that goes there. So that's just something to be aware of, okay?
So if it's the same, you still have to fill it out on both
Oh, yeah.
sections? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Whether it's the same, different, it doesn't matter. They got to be filled out. Yep. All right. And like I said, federal tax ID, facility location, billing provider, and the provider's NPI, or national provider identifier. Yeah. And I've seen more claims come back for box 33 than anything else. I've seen more information, more claims get denied because of box 33 than anything else. And I'll tell you why. Insurance companies, when you get into contract with insurance companies, when you set up that contract, you set up certain addresses that they can, and certain also money accounts, checking accounts or direct deposit accounts or credit cards, whatever. You set that up when you get in contract. And when you submit a claim to them, you have to provide the same information that's in that contract. So if a doctor switches groups and they don't update their contract with the insurance company, and you bill for something different, and they reject the claim saying your billing provider information doesn't match what we have on file. So I call insurance and I'm like, my billing provider's address, the billing address is this. This is what it should be. And they're like, that's not what I have. But here's the rub. They won't tell you what they have so that you could just change it and resend it. They're not going to give you that information. You got to go back to that provider and dig and find it out. Okay, you didn't update. And a lot of the times, if that's the case, you've got to hold on to that claim until that provider gets that information updated. And that could be up to them to do, or it could also be up to they may have outsourced credentialing people or whatever the case may be. Their general manager, office manager may handle their credentialing stuff and contracts. They've got to keep that stuff updated or their claims ain't going through, period. If their information does not match what's on file in their contract with that insurance company, the claim is not going nowhere. They're not even going to look at it. It's going to stop right there. And that's just it. They're just not going to deal with it. They're just going to send it back and say it doesn't match. Try again. So you find out what you need to find out and you try again. I've been in situations, y'all, where I have an address for this physician and I have to play multiple claims. I've got 4 different addresses that could possibly be the correct billing information that's on this contract. 4 different addresses. Could be in any which one of them. But I had to go through and I had to talk to the doctor and his office staff. Okay, when did y'all switch locations? How long were you at that location? What was the next location? And try to figure out where they dropped the ball with their contract and didn't update which address the company had. And then take the steps to correct that. And then I could get my claims filed. So.
That's a lot of work.
It seems like a lot, but it's really not that bad. It's really not that bad. When you're sitting comfortable in your cubicle, in your scrubs and got your earbuds on and you just doing your thing, it ain't that bad. It's cake, y'all. It really is. It's a cake job. That's why I like it, because I'm kind of lazy.
But you would think when the doctor was changing
You would
facilities,
think.
that somebody in that office was handling that business and was changing the contracts and
You would think.
updating this information. So what were they doing all the time? Fiddling their fingers and stuff, and then have you
Possibly.
fighting to find out what's going on.
That's possibly. All right, I am looking at a whole bunch of black boxes. I've been talking to black boxes for a long time.
Wow.
Miss Brandy,
I
I'm
look
I'm
rough,
folding my
Miss Brandy.
laundry.
I don't care if you folding laundry. I don't care if you laid up in your bed. I still rather talk to your face folding laundry than a black box.
Hey.
Thank you. Thank you. Beautiful. But yeah, so any questions about that the HICFA revenue cycle patient statements? Have I completely overloaded y'all with information? Because I
You
did
explained it very well.
Information.
I did have
Yeah,
another
it still was
instructor.
all helpful.
I did have another instructor tell me to slow down, you're gonna overload them. So I don't want to do that.
Well, I was writing some stuff down.
Good, good.
I was even screenshotting something so I could see. Remember, I said, "Cause wait a minute, Miss Brandy might pop that up on us and be like, you remember when I did that on?"
Never know.
I always go back and listen to the Zoom again just to see if I missed something. I always go back and listen.
And I can send y'all, if y'all want this presentation, it's only 6 slides. I can download it in PDF and email it to y'all if y'all want. We could do
Okay.
that if y'all like it.
Oh, Miss Brandy, you said something about you emailing me. I didn't get it on the school email or any of my other ones.
Because I didn't send it.
Oh, okay.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
I completely forgot.
That is
I am
okay.
so
That is
sorry.
okay. Well, as long as I can do that assignment, I don't want to miss one.
I won't, look, I'm writing it down. And I'll get it to you in it was 16 to 20, right?
Yes, ma'am. 1620. The worksheet.
Gotcha. All right,
Thank
I
you.
will send that to you very, very soon. I'm so sorry, Erin.
That's okay. I mean, I know you're busy and all. That's why I didn't bother you about it.
Appreciate it. Appreciate you. But yeah, don't feel bad about sending me a reminder text to jog that memory, because sometimes, especially this week, y'all, it's just me and the baby. My husband's out of town all week working. So at night, it's just me and her. So she's like extra, you know. Extra. Daddy's not there to take some of the attention away. So she's extra on me today or this week. But anywho. All right. Well, good. I'm glad I didn't overload y'all. I'm glad y'all got some good information to take away from that. Good. That makes me feel better. All the other instructors were like, your presentation's really pretty, but don't overload them, because we know you. You could talk about claims all day long. And I can. I can.
Well, at least we had questions. We actually questions.
I know, that
right?
was great. That was fantastic. And if
It's
y'all
not
think
like
of
he's
anything after the
overloading.
fact,
Mm-hmm.
if y'all think of anything after the fact, get with me and I'll explain it out. Even if it is knowing just how would you explain this to a patient? I love that question. That was great. That's fantastic.
Well, there was one more thing that I never did get to you. We didn't get together about it, and that was where to put the vital signs and all that information in the
Oh, that Erin, I had went and looked, and when I looked, it was there.
Yeah, but I mean, it was the actual exercise that I was trying. You told me to try a different patient and everything. I just don't, honestly, I'm
Was
gonna
it
be honest.
there?
I didn't never do that. I didn't try the other patient. I just got frustrated with
Oh,
it.
okay. Okay. You didn't try the other patient. Okay.
Uh-uh.
Yeah. Because when I looked under that patient, it was there. It was there. That's why I said just try that different patient. I don't know.
But yeah, that's just, I mean,
Technology,
it might have been there from the exercise I was doing too, but I just didn't know where there was. I didn't know how to
That's
get
okay.
you there.
That's okay.
No.
This is just, like I said, SimChart is just so that y'all can say, yes, I have experience working in an EHR. I've been trained on an EHR. Like what a lot of people don't realize about this course is that it's literally, you might as well look at it like on the job training. Basically, because that's what we're doing. We're
Okay,
training y'all.
Medical data entry, what is that? And will we be able to do that after we get our certification?
Yes, you can. And that's actually generally the way most billing specialists start out.
Okay,
Data entry.
it's just basically like typing
Typing
in-
stuff in. That's all.
Okay.
Typing stuff into an EHR, most likely.
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Entering patient demographics, insurance information, anything like that. Yep,
Yes, ma'am.
that's exactly.
That's what I like to do. I love to do that.
It's not bad. It's not a bad
It's
job.
not bad at all. I love doing it.
No, it's not bad at all. Like I said, that's what I started with when I started my first medical billing job. I started out scanning documents, the correspondence from the insurance companies and doctors' offices that the billers and coders would go through. They'd put it all in a file as they went through it, and then they give it to me to scan. And then after I got the file scanned into the database, I would go put it in the filing cabinet. That was my first job in billing. I did nothing but sit at a scanner all dang day. It was horrible. Boring job. Boring. But eventually, after I got the hang of scanning and I learned what an NPI was, and I got used to working in the EHR. That was the big thing, was for you to get used to that EHR so that when you go to call insurances, you're not afraid to switch from the charge screen to your note screen to see what the last rep said, to see what the balance is here. It's getting confident in that EHR to where you can navigate it. And that's when you'll go from like data entry into more billing activities and stuff like that. But yeah, they usually start you out with data entry. That's very common. Data entry or scanning or something like that. And that goes into that charge capture category. Data entry. Putting it all in
So
there.
that's what the next module is gonna be, mostly like data entry, or more of a showing you how to navigate more in between the
I
different.
believe so, yeah. To be honest with you, I haven't looked at 157 a lot. It just got put into our system today, and they told me not to do anything with it yet because it was still in the works. Like it was there, but it was glitchy. So they said, don't do
Mhm.
anything with it till we tell you to. So I may not to get to put anything into 157 until late tomorrow or
After
Sunday.
next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
But here's the deal on I have to turn in grades for 156 on Tuesday morning. But y'all notice that the thing has been midnight Sunday. That's because I'm gonna tell y'all right now, I'm not working Monday. I got plans.
Mhm.
So don't bother contacting me Monday. I'm not gonna be around. And I dang sure is not reopening anything on Monday. It's gonna be too late Monday. So please don't wait till the last minute. And there is nothing more that kind of frustrates me, y'all, than getting a 10 o'clock text message the night that stuff closes. Like, please don't wait till last minute and then text me 10 o'clock Sunday night and expect me to want to do something. Most of y'all on here, that ain't an issue. Thankfully, most of my students at all, it's not an issue, but I got a few. There's a few.
Yeah, that's why I'll leave a comment on the the
Yeah.
website. If it's that late at night, I'll leave a comment there
Yeah.
instead of texting you
Now,
or
make
emailing you or
me-
something. I ain't gonna text you.
Sometimes the comments might, if I don't go through and start grading stuff, I'll miss those comments sometimes. But yeah. And also, guys, y'all can text me, but if it's 10 o'clock at night, I'm probably not gonna get with you till the next morning. Like I said, y'all can still text me anytime. But when it's, and like I said, that's not an issue for most of y'all. Most of y'all don't do that. but I do have a few. And I got one right now that hasn't literally has done 3 daily assignments. That's all she's done the entire module. And then texting me at 11 o'clock at night talking about I'm ready to take my exam. Where do I find it? I didn't even answer that. I'm not. You don't put out effort throughout the whole thing and then text me at 11 o'clock at night. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And I would also never write a letter of reference for someone like that. I can't do that. Because here's the deal. We have companies that come to us when they need people and they say, which one of your students would fit the bill for this? And they let us recommend y'all and get y'all jobs. If I recommend somebody, I'm going to say this real bluntly. If you're a crap student, you're probably going to be a crap employee.
Definitely.
I mean, it just,
That's so true.
if you can't even answer one question a day for me, I'm not going to put you in an office where you're going to have serious expectations. I'm not going to set you up to fail, number one. And number two, I'm not going to put my name on the line and ruin my reputation with this company. Because guess what? If I do that, then next time they have a job opening, my students won't get considered. And I'm not doing that. I'm not risking that. I'm not risking my ability to help someone who is deserving. I'm not going to do it. So, yeah. That's just keeping it real. I'm just keeping it real. That's my way of thinking on it. I can't risk what I could do for y'all for somebody who doesn't deserve it. Somebody who's not put in the effort and doesn't communicate. I won't do that.
Unless they assuming that the course is like did schooling with like I say, Phoenix University of Phoenix,
Mhm.
and they tell you, you since you work, you could turn in your stuff as long as you have a certain day, you could
Mhm.
turn in all your work. So they
Yeah.
don't look for you to like clock in. I mean, do your work every day or turn something in every day. They
That's
just
accurate.
give you a certain day you have to turn something in. So you could go the whole week without doing anything. But as long as you turn in that
At
work on
Phoenix,
that
you could go the whole
Tuesday.
semester, the whole class. Each class is 5 weeks, or it was when I went there. I went online and finished my bachelor's degree at University of Phoenix. And each class I had was 5 weeks long.
Mhm.
And I could go all 5 weeks without turning anything in, and that would be fine. I'd be lost as hell if I tried to do that. But I could. And that last minute though would be crazy. But there's also
You
something
cram
really
in between.
different about Unitech that I really like. At Phoenix, the only time I talked or conversed or communicated with an instructor was to turn something in, or if I had a specific, and it better have been specific, and I better been able to wait 24 to 48 hours for them to email me back. There was no calling, there was no texting, there was no Zoom calls. It was, here's your work on this website, do it. And get it to me by this day. And that's it. That's
Yep.
it.
Or you could email them and it will get back to you. And some of them will take a few hours before they get back with you or the
And
next
some of
day.
them take several days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
or
some
you
of them
had,
didn't take them back at
sometimes you
all.
have a phone number you can call, but not all the time. But
Right.
then like do like we
Mine
do with
didn't.
calling.
Mine did
No.
not provide phone numbers. I had 2 of them. My last 2 classes, the 2 math classes, hated that crap. I'm not good at math.
Mhm.
But neither one of those professors, I emailed my last professor, my last class, because technically I wouldn't have passed if I hadn't. I was 2 points shy of a passing grade of getting my bachelor's degree. 2 points.
Mhm.
2 points keeping me from getting my bachelor's degree. After being in school for 8 years, working full time, online classes at night with no instructor. 2 points on a math class. So I emailed him and I was like, look, I was like, sir, I know you haven't heard anything out of me this entire class, and I've done the best I can. And as you can see, I don't have the best grades in your class, but I have kept up with my work and done the best I can. Is there anything that I can do to earn 2 points? This is my last class for my bachelor's degree. I've been in school for 8 years. And as it happened, the woman that raised me had died 2 months previously. So I was going through some things, but I was trying not to play my dead mama card. You know, I was just buckling down and doing it, just doing it, get through it. And, but I did, I was like, look, 2 points. I'll do anything you want to do. This is what I've been going through. 2 points. Please let me make up something. And he was like, I'll give it to you. Because it's 2 points.
Yeah.
He was like, congratulations on completing your degree program. Here's your 2 points. Sorry for your loss, by the way. You know. So yeah, that was the only time I ever tried to talk to him.
That's true. So
Yeah.
but this is a whole different scenario.
Yeah, this is
You
very
have to- a
different.
lot of participation.
Yeah, this is very, very different than most online schools.
Mhm.
And I think it's a good different. It's a really good different.
Yeah.
I think so. I think that helps a lot, especially since our program is so specialized. You know, you want somebody that's been there that can, you're not 100% sure about this field, about this job, about these tasks. You want somebody to tell you what it's really all about, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's really important and one of the things that Unitech really has going for it. So if y'all cannot not tell, I really like my job in the company that I work for. Super blessed over here. All right, guys. Well, if y'all don't have any questions on anything, I'm so glad that y'all got something out of today. And again, if you think of questions later on, holler at your girl.
Alrighty. Thanks a lot, Miss Brandy.
All right, y'all. Erin, I will email you that PDF shortly, and I should, since the kid's at home today, I don't have to go nowhere. So I should have this video up in about an hour or so.
Awesome.